Welcome to Catholic Mom Talks. On this beautiful Saturday, I got up this morning and I was watching a memorial mass for our beloved, dear Bishop David O'Connell. And for people who may not know who Bishop David O'Connell is, he was an archbishop for the Los Angeles region, San Gabriel region here in Los Angeles, Southern California. And he was the most beautiful soul. Oh my word. I was so moved by this memorial because it's been actually a year since he passed. But the thousands of people's lives he affected was so very evident in this memorial service, but also in our parish communities. My husband was a very good friend of Bishop Dave's, and it was just a tragedy. He was actually murdered last year around this time, February 18th. But he did a lot of work. Oh my gosh. His whole life was in the service of serving other people, loving other people. And he'd work in the slums down in LA. He'd take care of the homeless. He'd pay for the rent of people that couldn't afford to pay the rent with his own money that he had. It was his money. He would be present to gang violence, break up situations. I mean, he put his life on the line continuously in the service of the poor and the service of everyone that came in contact with this man actually felt Christ. They felt the love of Christ, right? And we have some friends of ours, and they had a prayer service for him after he passed away, right? And when everybody gathered, they looked around. And the people that gathered were, oh my word, every walk of life. There were people that didn't know their gender. There were drug addicts. There were alcoholics. There were gang members. There were pious homeschooling moms with the mantillas, right? He loved everyone. No one was excluded. He gave Jesus to everyone. And I reflect and I look at his life and I think, oh my word, Lord, what a gift that he walked among us. What a gift that God sent him to us. He was a servant. I mean, even politicians, the head of the police department, I'm talking, everybody loved him. And after he passed away in LA and all the way down to Orange County, there were billboards of his face everywhere in commemoration and memorial of this man, right? How many heroes do we really have that they do that for anyone, right? And no one, even Mother Teresa, I don't even think they had billboards of her all over their cities, right? He was a gift. He was a gift. Now, and I think sometimes we have to see the movement of the vocation of the priesthood, right? The gift of the priesthood to the church, right? And I think so often people get hung up on, of course, you know, you've got the few people that are like the wolves in sheep's clothing that may have been drawn to the priesthood, but were not good people, right? Okay, we've seen this. You know, we've got your pedophiles and things of this nature. But I'm going to tell you right now, that is not the call of the priesthood. Okay? If that person was in the priesthood, okay, and they chose that evil, that is not the church, people. That is not the church. That is not Christ. That is not the message of a servant or a shepherd, okay? This is an evil that these people did, right? Now you've got to understand there's millions and millions of you know, Christians and Catholics around the world, right? And I was researching a little bit, but every kind of organization, the Boy Scouts, the, you know, you name it, any other religions, right? Teachers even. There's always a percentage of people that go into it that are not recognized, right? And that they have some issues, right? Some serious issues and evil, and they do a lot of damage. Well, the enemy was very much present the last few years, moving some of these men, right? And thank God it stopped. Thank God that the church is aware. Thank God that he's training. I don't know if any of you are aware, anybody that works with the church is aware, but everybody in the church is trained in virtus training, which is to recognize pedophiles, to know when someone is not good, when they're criminals, when they're going to have bad behavior, right? So as a people, the laity is very much trained, that the religious are trained. We're trained to see now who is going to cause damage, right? Well, it's also the enemy, right? He's going to get his ugly foot in there. And how is he going to do that? He's going to try to influence people that are supposed to be religious. It's supposed to be bringing people to God, right? Well, he tried, right? But I honestly think, this is just my opinion, I think the devil tries to distract from the men of God, from the men that have sacrificed their whole life in the service of the poor, in the service of the sick. Those are our heroes, right? But what is he going to do? The enemy doesn't want you to look at them, right? He doesn't want you to look at their lives. So he's going to send out wolves, right? So that's something to think about, okay? And so often I think we have to be a thinking culture, thinking people, right? It's kind of like, for example, and I'm sure, the whole Anglican Church isn't condemned because Henry VIII, killed all his wives, right? Okay, King Henry VIII was an evil guy, right? I mean, but that doesn't mean the whole Church of England is evil, right? These people are maybe very much in love with God, and but their leader wasn't exactly all that great, right? So it takes a lot to discern, a lot to recognize evil, and it also takes a spirit of faith to recognize that our faith is a church, okay, is the message of Christ and the gospel of Christ. Okay, we're here to serve. And that's what Bishop David O'Connell did. He served, he served, he served, he served. He loved, he loved, he loved. He gave Christ to the world. And I just encourage you, I invite you to go online and listen to the commemoration of his life. I invite you to look at the newscast. There's ABC, there's KTLA, there's Channel 11. Watch and see what kind of a man this man was. He gave Jesus to us. Let us rejoice in his gift to us. And let us love him. Love the people of God. They're our brothers and sisters in Christ. And I know he's in heaven. I know he's watching over us, right? And the reason why I'm talking about him is actually he was a very close friend of my husband. Very close. And my husband loved him so much. He knew him. He knew his true colors. He knew what kind of a priest he was and what kind of a person he was. Well, thank you all for listening on this Saturday. I hope you have a beautiful weekend. God bless you all.